Welcome back to Adobe Live and to our second episode ever of the Weekday Edit with Weekend Creative. My name is Arabella Espinoza.
I'm Elle Mott.
And we are so excited for today's stream. We have lots of good info for you guys, but make sure to say hi in the chat. I see lots of you in here already. Hi, Voodoo Val. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Christian. Oh, so great to see you guys. Please say hello and tell us where you're watching from. It's always exciting to see we should start making a map and like putting points of everybody that's ever watched in Adobe Live. That would be so cool.
Yes,
But
that would
please
be
say
really
hello.
cool.
We'd love to hear from you. We're obviously going to be sharing lots of good info today, but please, if you have any questions or any comments or just about anything regarding us or what we're sharing today, please drop it in the chat and we'll be super happy to answer. But Ellie, do you want to share a little bit about us and who we are?
Yes, so we are Weekend Creative. We are a creative team or duo, I guess. So I do art direction and production, and Arabella does photography and post-production, and we work with commercial clients. We shoot a really wide range of products, anything from skincare to wine to strollers to, I feel like we've shot almost everything. So
literally,
it's really fun, and we have loved running our own business and love that we get to share the things that we've learned with all of you guys. So today we're going to be talking about planning a shoot. How do you come up with ideas? How do you put all those ideas together? And how do you present those ideas in a way that your clients can understand and a way that you can communicate with anyone else who's going to be working with you on the shoot and just make sure that your pre-production process is flawless and that your shoot day goes really well. So we're
so excited. Also, I'm so excited because it's the first time that I'm not editing, so it's all Ellie over here, so it's great.
Pressure's on me. So
pressure's on you, but I know you're gonna kill it. So let's get to it.
We can hop over to my screen. So I wanted to really quick show you guys kind of the first step when a new client comes. Either we've reached out to them or they've reached out to us, however that process works. The first step is that we want to get as much information from them about the shoot as possible. So this is the form that they will fill out, and this will help me to give them a proper estimate. It will help me to understand how much work is going to go into the shoot so I can make sure that we have enough time to properly execute it. I want to show you guys this. This is on our website, so you can access this on our website if you want to take a look at it later. But basically, there's first just like really basic information, their website, their social media, so that we can take a look at what they already have. What does their company or product do? The goal and purpose of the shoot is really important because we want to always make sure that we are sticking to that when we are planning the shoot. Who is the target audience? If we're shooting for, 50-year-old men versus 13-year-old girls, it's going to be very different aesthetic. So we want to make sure that we are targeting that correctly. What products are we going to be shooting? How many shots do you need? Do you need stop motion as well as still images? Where the image is going to be used? This will help us to price out the licensing, but it will also help us to kind of figure out how are the images going to be shot, right? If we're shooting something for a social ad versus like a printed packaging, that's going to be different, how we're going to shoot that. How long are they going to be used for, their budget. And here's a little tip, you guys. If your clients are not giving you a budget, you can create a little drop down and make this a required field so they're forced to give a budget range. And that's very helpful.
Yes, don't have it open-ended where they can be like, I don't know.
Yes, I'm like, you do know. Everyone knows what their budget is. Do we need models? Are we shooting in a studio or are we going to go to a location? Deadlines, if they already have an established
brand. More information, the better.
Yeah. So it goes on and on. You guys can take a look at this on our website. But this really helps us to get an idea of, what the project is going to be. And then I'm going to use this information as I build the shoot plan. So once I get this information, I'll send them an estimate. Once we have a retainer and our contract in place, then I'll do a phone call with them and go through all of these details in a lot more depth. So I wanted to show you guys too. This is the product that I am going to be planning a shoot for today. So fun. So fun. So this is actually a sunscreen brand and it's so cute. You can see some of their products here. It's called Vacation. I love their packaging. I love the smell of their product
The
and I love
name,
their
everything.
branding, everything. It's so fun. And I was thinking about this and I was like, I really want to plan a shoot for this company, like, pretend like they're our client. But what if because it's winter, right? Or we're heading into winter. It's not summer anymore. And so what if it was like they need a campaign that is all about that you still need to use sunscreen in the winter, and it's like a winter themed sunscreen shoot. So it's kind of different than your like typical, like, maybe you would normally shoot this like at the beach or the pool or whatever. But this is like, no, if you're like skiing, you still need
Oh
sunscreen. If you're
yeah.
like sitting by the fire, but like you're next to a window and the sun is coming in, even in your like little cabin, you still need sunscreen, right?
Okay,
We
but
need
honestly, even if
every
you just
day.
turned 30, like we both have,
Yes,
sunscreen is now your friend, like for
yes,
every day of the rest of your life. Because do you want those wrinkles?
absolutely.
Probably not.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's kind of the idea behind this shoot. And so we're pretending like this is a client who came to us. They filled out our form. They gave us all this information.
Love it.
And then their like campaign that they're wanting to do is like sunscreen in the winter, basically.
I love that. We love
Yes.
it.
Yes. Feel free to interrupt me if there's any questions or comments. I know I'm like going really fast, but
No, you're totally fine.
I want to get to
Um,
like the good stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. A couple people in the chat have chimed in. Jess says, "Oh, these girls are awesome."
Oh,
Michelle says, "Yay." Jeff's from East Philadelphia, I believe.
oh,
Oliver says,
cool.
"Hi." Michelle says, "Here
Hello.
from LA. Loved your work and have been following since 2020."
Oh,
Oliver's joining from the UK East Midlands. Jeff says, "Oh wow, the force budget idea is a great idea."
it's so good, you guys. It took us a
Yes.
while to figure that out, but now it's so helpful. It's so helpful.
And then Michelle says, I love the vintage look of vacation, which honestly, yes, I love it too.
Yes. Me too. Me too. Okay, so most of the time when we're coming up with concepts, you want to start with the brand, right? We're creating
Right.
content for this brand. Sometimes a company will say, hey, this is our look, but we're wanting to kind of shift it to this new look. So you'll kind of shift with them and help them make that transition. Sometimes they have like a very established aesthetic and they want to stick with that. So the kind of the best way to start is just like a brainstorming session around the campaign, around the brand, before you go and look at anyone else's images. Like when we first started, the first thing I would do is go to Pinterest and look at
Right.
images, and that is the best way to copy people, even unintentionally. If you go look at
Yes.
images immediately, those images are going to be stuck in your mind, even if you're not, directly looking at them while you're shooting. They're still going to be there. And we want to create original, unique work for our clients, right? And once you get an idea in your head from someone else, it's really hard to get it out. So what I would do, and I have been loving using Firefly for this, because I will like brainstorm, I'll like create a list of like a bunch of words that I can use to plug into Firefly and kind of pull out some inspiration from there. And I will add some of those images into my mood board that are like more unique, right? Because they came from my mind and not from someone else's. So
Mhm.
looking at this brand, right? We could say like vintage retro is definitely a part of
Yes.
it. Vacation is even like a word that we can use, right? That's their brand name. And because we're going to like a more winter look, winter, snow, ski, cabin, cozy,
Exactly.
comfort, like those are all words that we can use to kind of like pull some ideas. So I'm on Firefly. This is, if you go to firefly.adobe.com, you can access this as well. And there's really great options here. We can do text to image. We could do generative fill where you're adding things into images. You can do these cool text effects. But today we're going to do text to image. So I'm going to like start, let's see.
Ooh, cozy vintage cabin.
I
We
can't
love
talk and
that.
type at the same time.
No, you're
I don't
totally
know
fine.
if vintage is going to do anything here, but I'm just kind of curious to see what it's
I
going to
think
come
it
up with.
might. I think it might, because I feel like
Yeah.
it's like vintage can be also like a look, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
we could say, okay, this one looks super cute. I love this.
So cute.
And if you go up here to more options, you can download it. You could even like, if you wanted to take this out to Adobe Express, but we're just going to go ahead and download this. Okay.
Amazing.
And then, if you can go up here to edit and do generative fill if you wanted to add things into this image, or I want to do show similar to see if it will give me any other similar effects. And there's also all of these options over here on this side that you can change. You can change the look of it. You can change the content style, the aspect ratio, and there's so many different options, which is really great. And there we go. Like, why is it not letting me click? Okay. Let's download this one as well. And then I want to say, inside by the fire and see, get some inspiration from that. Oh, this is making me like very ready to sit in a cabin in the snow and
I know. It's so cozy.
It's so cozy. Okay, let's say this one, and then I'm gonna add to this. I'm gonna say like comfy chair. Oops.
Yes. It's like it works so fast. It's kind of insane.
I know. And I feel like this is just a great way to kind of get your juices flowing, to kind of start thinking about things and like, okay, I
like that last one.
I like love and this one.
Yes.
I love this chair. You know, maybe we want to kind of look for a chair similar to that or something like that. So this is kind of like, you know, and I'm going to actually remove the fire and see what that does. This is a great way just to kind of like start generating ideas on your own. And, you know, before Firefly, I would have had to have these ideas and draw them all out myself. But now I can literally just type it in.
Oh
Firefly
my gosh,
can generate them for me. Yeah.
Okay, I'm obsessed with that fourth one. Like, I love that little glowing light off the lamp.
I know.
Yeah,
it's really
and just
cute.
like,
okay, let's download
so
that.
good. And still, like, it's getting the sun too.
Yes.
Which is like what's that we need. Awesome. Jeff says, sorry, Eastern Pennsylvania. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Jeff. I think I said Philadelphia or something.
Oh.
Lavon says, your voice is awesome. And thank you, Voodoo Bell, for linking Firefly. That's great. And then Jeff says, break out the marshmallows. Actually, that's a good little, like, you know.
Yes, marshmallows, hot chocolate. Okay, I put in vintage skiers on the slopes. Apparently I spelled skiers wrong, but it still knows.
Oh, there you go.
20. Okay, whatever. Yeah. It still knew what I wanted to do.
It's still new.
I love this one. I'm gonna do show similar to this. This guy's missing legs, but you know, that's okay.
Okay.
It's still a great image.
Are his legs, actually.
They are. They actually are. Okay, love this.
I love that one, actually.
So
my gosh, it like almost like it would be fun to do like that kind of vintage shoot, even like set in like, I don't know, 70s, like you know, that kind of vibe.
Right?
That's
okay.
So fun.
And then what if people are like sitting in chairs, looking at, you know, maybe they're like holding the product or something. They're like relaxing.
I can totally see this like like Vail, Colorado or something, you know, like where the sun is really bright, but then like there's the skiing, like all the slopes and all that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm doing similar on this one.
Voodoo Val says he is the slope.
He is. Yeah, literally. Sounds good. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The other thing is, the other setting that we wanted to do is like Christmas cocktails. Like you go skiing during the day and then you come back and you're like drinking a cocktail and it's more like festive. So
I love this. So holiday too. You know?
Yes.
Ooh, Michelle says the branding gives me like 80s movie poster.
Yes. I love it. Okay, let's see. I don't know if it will know what I'm trying to do with this. Let's see. I want to make this like a little bit
holiday. Yeah, maybe holiday.
And
maybe give it a setting like
on like a gold gold platter or something like that.
Yes. Perfect.
Let's see. Okay, like something like this.
Yeah.
Great inspiration.
Maybe show similar or something.
Yeah, let's do similar to this one.
I even like the the cocktail glasses on that other
I
one too.
know. Yeah.
Really fun shapes.
It's so, yeah, really pretty.
Ooh, that left one is fun.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's download that.
perfect. Voodoo Val says it's giving 80s feel good freeze frame in the best way.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we could keep going like this for a really long
For a
time,
long time, yes.
for forever. But I want to hop into the shoot plan that I like to make for our clients. So,
yes. Real quick, someone
yes.
gave a really good question. Jeff says, is there a concern with using these with clients and trademarking / watermarking?
Using the Firefly images?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Firefly is available for commercial use now, so there's
That's
no
correct.
issue around that. However, we are not the images that I just pulled are going to be just inspiration. So it doesn't really, it's not really, they're not going into the final images at all. We definitely could generate things using Firefly that could go into the final images. Like, for example, maybe there's a specific prop that we want that we can't get, or like a specific, like, I don't know, ingredient or something. We could, in the new Photoshop, we could generate that, use that, and it would be fine because it's for commercial use now. We could generate a background or something like that, and that would be fine. But we're not, these ones are going to be just inspiration, so
Correct.
it doesn't matter, but it also would be okay if they were being used, if that makes sense. Let me know if that wasn't clear. Yeah. So in my shoot plans, I like to have a nice little cover page. I want to make this look as professional as possible for our clients. It's not necessary, but it just, like, I think it puts like the most good impressions that you can make, the better, right?
Yes.
The like more professional you can look, the better. And we want things to be like very clear, very easy to understand, and just for that process to be really smooth for our clients. So this is my cover page that I make. And basically it's just like the date of the shoot, the title, which I like to put the client's name first because, you know, it just makes them feel nice. And I like to do everything in our branding, so it just feels like a very cohesive experience from start to finish.
Yeah.
And we actually do have a download for the shoot plan. It's with different branding.
Yes, Voodoo Val just linked it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's on our site, and I walk you through how you can make it. There is a AI, like, Illustrator file, and there's also a Photoshop file, because I know a lot of photographers don't like using Illustrator and they would prefer to use Photoshop. So we added a Photoshop version as well. You could also totally do something like this in Adobe Express so easily. So that's another option as well. But it's really nice to have a template for yourself that then every shoot you just duplicate that template and input the new information, and it saves so much time, and it just helps you, like, remember the details that you need to input. It helps you, like, plan everything really well. And you can obviously adjust everything according to your own preferences and the information that you need for that specific shoot. So
yeah, definitely.
I like to do a little overview for our clients. So this is kind of like, this is the campaign, and a little description of that. I like to include a timeline so that we're all on the same page, and then the deliverables. So for this pretend shoot, we're going to say there's 6 images and 3 GIFs. I would list out what those images and those GIFs are, so that they, you know, we can make sure. Basically, the whole point of this is to make sure that you are on the same page as the client before you shoot. And this will help eliminate reshooting. It will help your production process, because you're going to know exactly what you need to source. It will help you as you're, like, planning the actual shoot to know what order you want to shoot things in. If you have other people, like a stylist or anyone else like working on the shoot with you, you can give this to them and they'll know what they need to get. So all around, it's just super, super helpful. So I took screenshots of the products and dropped them in here. And guys, look, contextual taskbar is now in Illustrator, and it is so nice. So that is here. Basically, if I was to switch to, like, something else, like, for example, when I click on the text, it brings up, like, a little text bar, and you're able to, like, move this around if it's in your way, but it is so helpful. It kind of reads your mind, and the the tools that you're going to want to use are going to be available right there.
Based on the tool that you're using currently.
Exactly.
So it's just great. So I'm glad.
Yes.
I'm happy for
so
that.
Update your Illustrator if you haven't already, and this will be available to you. So I'm going to just do a little image trace, guys. Cool. The whole thing for me about planning shoots is I want to be as efficient and quick as possible and do the least amount of work, because it takes a lot of time to plan shoots, right? And it can be like, I'm just going to expand this. It can be, really time consuming. And so the more shortcuts that the better. And at the end of the day, like these don't have to be perfect. It's just like showing the client, here's what I plan to do, making sure that we're on the same page. And, that doesn't like, we don't have to do perfect drawings. You don't have to like have every little detail in there. Because otherwise you're going to spend a million years on it. And you're not gonna have
this
time
is just to communicate, like, like, and like more of like a, what do people call it when it's like high level, like just,
high level. So I am not the best artist or drawer in the world. So I rely on a lot of like tricks to kind of help me draw things out in a way that is like very simple, but gets the point across. And I'm not worried about like making a perfect illustration. So,
totally. And if you are, like, great, that's amazing.
Yes. Love that for you.
Yeah. Just know that, when you're doing these things, it can take a lot of time, and, being efficient is important here, because really at the end of the day, like, the actual work that's going to happen, that's going to take longer.
Exactly. So usually when you're shooting with a client, they're going to give you like the exact hex codes for their brand. But, because I don't have those, I have these screenshots from their website, and I'm just eye dropping the colors. And honestly, having a set color palette is one of the absolute best ways to make sure that your shoot is cohesive. If, the majority of the images in your shoot like have this exact color palette, it's going to be very hard for it not to be cohesive.
Yeah.
So I would say like try to limit the colors that you're using. And, sometimes clients will have like very specific colors. Sometimes they won't. But even if they don't, I would say like still try to limit the colors and make sure that you are sticking to that like as much as possible. And of course, like variations within these, you can have different shades that you're incorporating. But overall, like you're wanting to stick to those, and it's going to give you a much more cohesive shoot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So this is our overview page, and we can move on to making our little mood board page. Perfect. So I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to drop some of those images that we downloaded.
Yes. Perfect. Michelle says, ooh, yes, the shoot plan is familiar from the project class I took with y'all on Domestica.
Oh, yeah.
And she says, Canva's awesome for this too. Yes, Canva works great too to create little briefs or decks like this, like, whatever tools at your disposal, I think, make it work for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm just like dragging these out. And you can see, I also pulled a bunch of images earlier. So just, are you laughing at how many images
overwhelmed.
I have? This is actually a small number of images.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with those two right there. The skiers sitting down.
Yes. So I pulled these images. This is inspiration for like swipes that we might do with the product. Other inspiration, this is like lighting inspiration right here. And you'll notice that like not all of the images that I pull are photographs, right? Like this is vintage ski tags. So this would be really fun to incorporate somehow. This is like a Christmas tree. Vintage ornaments would be really fun to incorporate. What else do we have? Like cabins, ski lifts.
Love those.
Okay. Also, whatever this lighting fixture is, I love it. And it feels so holiday, and I want to use it somehow.
Oh my God, that looks like a peppermint, ornament thing.
Yeah. And even with something like that, like the way that it could inspire something is like, maybe we do something that's like green and white stripes, and it's not an actual like light fixture, but it's somehow incorporated. Right. We pull a lot of inspiration from graphic design, from architecture, from interior design. And that's a great way to make sure that your images are unique as well, because you're not, pulling directly from other photographers. And with all of this, it's important to say that your mood board is like a recipe. So you're building a cake or you're baking a cake, right? And you have your flour and your sugar and
all the ingredients
that go into that. And instead of like just giving someone flour to eat, like you're giving all the things combined and it's making something new. And so all of these are kind of like the ingredients, right? We have the colors that we're incorporating, the textures, we have the sets, the props, the way everything is pieced together, and all of those are different ingredients. And you don't want to pull too many ingredients from one source. You want to have lots of different sources and make sure that everything is, when you look at the new image that you create, you can't tell where the inspiration came from exactly, because that's how you'll know that you made something unique. So
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, let's go ahead and just like make this little mood board really quick. I'm just gonna pull some of these, and there's really no like right or wrong to like how many images you could have. It's it's totally up to the project, and I could even make a different mood board for each like little setting that we're talking about, which I kind of will do later. But let's just pretend like we're doing this. And normally when I do this too, I like make sure that all the images like,
all the
line up. They're all like sized exactly the same, but you know what? Not today.
Not today. Not today, baby.
We have stuff to do today.
Jeff says, sort of clear. I guess what I mean is, what do you do to prevent those images you use for inspiration from being used elsewhere by the client? I mean, they're going to be so small on this.
The client won't be getting the actual images. They're going to get like a PDF of this. So they won't be using them. There would be, they could take a tiny little screenshot, but it wouldn't be big enough for them to actually use it in any way that would be useful. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, honestly.
But that's why they're also like, it's available for commercial use too. So it's like, part of it is like, you're using them in these little ways, but for a client to just take it from like our PDF or our deck, like it's probably not going to be very useful to them.
I don't think that would be. Now, if they saw an image like that we had made in Firefly that they really loved, we could talk about that and like what that could look like. So it could be an option. Like we could make, images in Firefly for them to use. But
that would be a different conversation for sure.
It would be a different conversation, and it would be different than like what we're making for them for this actual shoot.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm going to lock this background that I have. Oops, not delete it. That is Command. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my microphone is in the way of my hands. So
there we go.
Just like make these a little smaller.
Nice.
And
Mavis says, wow.
I am holding shift and dragging while I'm doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to leave these other images in here because I probably will use them as inspiration for some of the other shoots. But basically here's like our general overall mood board that we can kind of use as like our guiding light as we're planning out the shoot. The other two pages that I think are important are sets and props. Now, these are like not essential, but I feel like it's kind of helpful for the client to like be clear on what you're planning to use. And it's really, really helpful if you are working with a prop stylist and you want them to kind of know exactly what you want them to get. So these are surfaces that I pulled from Studio Casita. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Our friends just launched a new backgrounds company. They do vinyl backgrounds. So these are not all vinyl. Some of them are vinyl. Some of them are just like actual surfaces that you could rent. But we started moving away from like really hard surfaces, actual backgrounds, and moving more towards vinyl because they're so much easier to work with and way easier
like
to
if we can get like work with vinyl more often, great. If we have to use like hard surfaces, we will, but I think like these are just so much easier to like clean and like
So much
storage,
easier.
and photographing them is
And
really
it's
easy
like,
to
I'm not like
do.
making a whole like
Yeah.
background, you know?
Yeah.
So as I plan the shoot, these backgrounds might change. I might like be like, oh, we
Hmm.
actually need this other background. Or maybe as I'm like putting to get them together, I'll be like, these actually don't look that good. But in
Hmm.
the final shoot plan, I want to make sure that the client kind of knows like, here's the backgrounds I'm planning to use so that they can approve them in advance. And something important to put into your contract is that all the approvals are going to be made in advance of the shoot. And then also that during the shoot, they're responsible for approving things as you're shooting. So they can either send someone to the actual shoot if that's possible, or they could virtually join the shoot. And if they choose not to do that, then they are giving you the permission to make those final decisions. And any reshooting or re-editing after the fact will be additional, costs for them.
It's funny because at first you were like, these are not necessary, the sets and the props page, but honestly, you guys,
It's
they
actually kind of
really,
necessary.
really are. And I'm gonna tell you a little mini story because
Yeah.
Ellie had created this beautiful deck, everything was great, and the client approved all of the things on, this shoot plan, including one of these sets that, that Ellie had planned, which was like this like large like wooden table, because it was like a whole like food kind of shoot. And yeah, this client decided to, on the day of the shoot, say that they were not happy with that exact set, which was
Yeah.
really a bummer because, this is why we do these things. So it's important to always make sure to have that like communication back and forth, get things approved beforehand, because it saves not only like your time but their time, right? That's why these things are super important, because yeah, you just don't want to have to like redo things or none of that. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, of course, like you want your client to be happy and but like in this example, what I had shown them was like exactly what the set was. Like it was literally a picture of it, like not even like an illustration, like an actual picture. And they had approved it. And so yeah, it just like made it really frustrating, and like we didn't have other options because we thought that that was going to be fine. And so yeah, basically the more approvals that you can get in advance, the better. And then just have it in your contract that like things are
Yes.
signed off, and once they're signed off, if changes are made, whether that's during the shoot or after the shoot, then those are additional costs that the client will cover.
Yeah.
And of course, like we include some rounds of re-editing or like adjustments to post-production, but you kind of want to put a limit on those as well. So
Yes, definitely.
the more you do pre-shoot, the better,
Yes, yes. Jeff says, oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry, I am more on the video
Yeah.
side, and I'm looking at these from an advertising side. So helpful though. Yeah, totally. That's such a good question though, Jeff, because I think,
Absolutely.
like, oh wow, these are cool chairs.
I know. I just changed it to photo to see what else it gives me. But
perfect.
So now I'm using Firefly to generate like, here's the kind of chair that we could use. So I don't have to draw it myself, you guys. This
Oh my
is
God,
like,
yeah.
I'm actually gonna change this to see if the composition.
Yeah, no, that was a great question, Jeff. And I think, even important to answer just for other people to know.
Yes.
Totally understand. So Michelle says, ooh, I really like this idea, the set, the props aspect. Absolutely. And she also asks, vinyl is waterproof, right? Yes, it is, which is great, because then you can do, especially like for this shoot, right? When we're working with like actual liquid or like, things that like will seep through paper or like other types of backgrounds. So like to have a vinyl backdrop and do swatches or do like, cool things with the sunscreen, like, it's going to be so easy for cleanup. So that's why we love using vinyl. So Jeff says backgrounds are awesome. Yes, I agree.
These ones are really fun. I love them. And yeah, I feel like it's just so nice to be able to like store them so much easier. They're so much lighter. You're not like lugging heavy pieces
Oh my
of
gosh, yes.
concrete or tile around. Another thing I want to show you guys is that when you download these images from Firefly, it puts in the title what the prompt was. So if you need to regenerate
that's great.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think I'm gonna do this one. I love this one.
Yes, perfect. Tess Dana has entered the chat saying, cool.
Hello.
Hi, Tess Dana.
Here. We are planning a shoot if you're just joining us.
Yes, we are here in Illustrator, and Elle is showing us how to really build out a beautiful shoot plan, you know, complete with all the information that you need to communicate with your clients, what, you know, what's going to happen during the shoot and what's going to, you know, what they're going to get, really. Voodoo Val says, having the visual there, I'm sure makes it very clear exactly what they're getting. So there's nothing left up to interpretation. Exactly. Yes. It's like, you want to make it so, like, I hate using the word stupid, but stupid simple, that, like, you know, there are no, there's no confusion, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I think that's also speaks volumes to, like, you as a professional. If you can communicate, you know, your vision or like what you're planning for the shoot, then it's just gonna go better, like, all around.
And it helps you too for knowing like what you need to get, and it helps you to walk into a shoot feeling really confident and having a plan. And there's still gonna always be things that you're adjusting on the fly, and you know, things that you're like having to make adjustments to. Like, there will always be things that just don't work out. And like, that's okay. You know, we can make those changes as we go. But it just helps, like, everyone. Helps the client, it helps you. And I think clients really appreciate, like, that they, you know, knew what they were getting themselves into basically with you. And they can feel like they trust you. Yeah. They can feel like they trust you, and, you know, that you're going to do a great job. And they're like, they know what to expect too, right? Like, the less surprises we have, the better. So
totally.
Okay, this is like not necessary, but it's bothering me. So I'm gonna delete these.
Michelle says, what was the name of your friend's background company again? So their studio name is Rule and Level, so you can look them up and they'll have it
actually
linked
changed
up, but it's called Studio. Oh, they changed?
Well, because they merged with the other company, so it's
Studio Cosita. That's what it is. So Studio COSITA. That's the name of the, like, specific background, like, shop.
Yes. Okay, so for this shot, I'm gonna say, like, what if it's in a cozy blue chair, like, close up, and we see the cabin walls in the background, and we see like a yellow rug or something on the ground. So how I like to organize this is, I don't always do a mock-up for every single shot. This is like mock-ups for this scene, like cozy cabin scene. There are going to be 2 different shots. One of them is going to be a stop motion. So I am going to make a mock-up of each one, probably not on this stream, but if we were shooting this, I would make a mock-up for each one. And, you know, if we're doing multiple images within the same set, I would typically do a mock-up of the first one, and then I would put like a description that will describe the rest of the images, if that makes sense. So you're not always making a mock-up for every single image, but sometimes you are. It just depends on like what makes sense for that shoot, how drastically things are changing, and all of that. So I like to put the title so it's clear to the client what they're looking at. The dimensions are really helpful. If you can ask your client, what dimensions does this image need to be in? Is it going to be like a long website header, which with generative expand, you're able to like expand things so much easier now. So, you know, that makes it a lot easier, but still like shooting for the ratio that you're going to be cropping to is really helpful. Is it going to be an Instagram story or a TikTok, you know, things like that, just so that you know how to plan everything and how to shoot it. And you can put an overlay as you're shooting to make sure it will crop correctly. And then I like to list what are the products in this shot. This just helps us all stay organized. And then I would put an image description and a GIF description as well. So even though there's a picture of it, it's still helpful to have a description because like we said, the, more clear that you can be, the
Yes, don't want to
better.
leave anything up for interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Voodoo Val, for linking them. Yes, so Cosita, Studio Cosita is like the name of the shop of the backgrounds, but yes, their Instagram, I believe, is cosita.creative. So
yes, they have great vinyl surfaces. The other company I would say is Club Backdrops has great
yes,
vinyl
Club
surfaces.
Backdrops.
Yes, and then I just ordered some for a shoot that we have tomorrow from Everyday Co. I think it's like everyday.co, and they're in Australia.
Cool.
Yeah. So they're really great as well. Yeah, it's just so much easier, and like when you photograph them, you can't even usually tell that they're not like real tile or real whatever it is that you're shooting. So okay, so let's pretend like we have our little what's it called, sunscreen there. And I'm gonna pretend like there's a little side table here. Maybe it's like a cute little orange side table.
Ooh.
See, as you can see, you guys, I'm not
it's not exactly perfect, but it's just getting the idea across.
Yeah, and I at the end I'll like crop this exactly to a square usually, but again, it's not essential. Like as long as the client can kind of visualize like here's what we're thinking of, and here's
because it's likely that like day of shoot things will get tweaked like slightly, like sometimes like that's just natural because things look different in real life. So,
exactly. And if you don't want to do image trace, you can also just like actually trace everything. Oops,
we love it.
So that's what I'm doing right here is I'm just actually tracing with this little mug. I could say like, okay, this is the mug that I want to buy, and we're gonna be just like drawing this little mug here.
Yeah, perfect.
And I am using my trackpad right now, so forgive me.
That is impressive because I hate working on trackpad
really quickly. I know. Okay, we're moving our studio, and I was gonna use my mouse today, and my mouse is nowhere to be found. So
oh no.
I know. I'm like, in all the shuffle, it just got moved somewhere else.
I know. Oh, that looks so cute though.
So we'll pretend like there's a cute little mug there. Okay, so this, and we could like literally keep adding. I could be like, oh, I want to have like a pretty like yellow scarf in here.
Like kind of like in the back, like just like draped over or like whatever,
Yes. Yeah. So there's so many different tools you can use to do this. Like for something I want to draw, I would probably be like, oh, I'm gonna like use my pencil tool.
Yeah.
And this is the scarf that I'm gonna get. Does this look like a scarf? Probably not. That's fine. Whatever.
Looks like a little yellow blob, but that's okay.
Yeah. And that's why I would put it in the description, like, cozy blue chair, yellow rug, orange side table with a blue mug, yellow scarf draped, maybe like the pink hat is sitting over here. And this just really helps to visualize too, like, okay, are the things that I want to include in this shot, are they going to work for me in the actual shoot? And maybe I'm like, okay, actually I'm like hating these colors together, and I'm going to change this side table to be pink.
Yeah.
And I could test it out right here. I'd use my eyedropper tool. I'd come over here, eyedrop the pink, and be like, actually the orange like pops more. So I'm going to go back to the orange. And this helps eliminate a little bit of that like on set trying to like piece everything together because you've already visualized it. And yes, maybe it doesn't turn out exactly like this in real life, but it helps to kind of like get those ideas out and make sure like, okay, I know I have to get a blue mug and I have to get an orange side table.
Well, yeah. And like once upon a time, like we like years ago, we did not have shoot plans to like organize ourselves. So what would happen was we would like pack all of our lives, like all of the props, because we were like, we didn't know like what exactly we were going to have in that particular shot. And that's not really that efficient or effective, because then you're just like stuck, what if you don't have the right thing that like actually goes with that shot? Or like, you're overwhelmed with like all the options, and it just kind of doesn't like doesn't make a shoot as efficient as it should be. And so really planning things out ahead of time is great. And we've noticed that now, like even with our personal projects, like when we try to, you know, like be spontaneous, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
And we're like, maybe we should have like planned a little bit more.
Yeah, sometimes it's
Yeah.
so nice. It just makes your images stronger because you
Yes.
have like
You put some thought into it.
the point of this kind of product photography is telling a story, right? So you have
Exactly.
to think about the story and then plan the story in advance. The story doesn't just happen. Otherwise, there's not going to be a lot of meaning behind it. And a lot of times you'll end up just copying images and you're just not going to have those compelling images that your clients are paying you for. So I'm like, okay, great. I have my 2 mockups. I'm going to move on to my next one. And so you can use O, I believe, or the artboard tool, Shift O, and duplicate your artboard.
Amazing.
And when you duplicate it, so like I would select this artboard. If I wanted to just make a new artboard and not have the stuff that's on it, I would just unselect this, or I could select this. And then when I hold down Option, I can duplicate it with all the things on it. So just kind of helpful, time-saving trick.
We love that.
Yes,
Jeff says, I can't use the trackpad. Must have a mouse. I am with you, Jeff. I cannot either. But
I know.
You know, in dire situations, you know, sometimes.
I've just like kind of gotten used to it. But then today, like, and I'm trying to use my mouse more. But today was not the day.
Today is not the day, you know? Yeah.
No,
I love
okay.
to do my like left hand with the zoom and then my right hand with the mouse. Like that's my like perfect, you know, situation. But yeah, Voodoo Val says, I feel the same way about the stylus. Gotta have my pen.
Oh, I know. So I also was playing around with working on Illustrator on the iPad, and that was really awesome. But I feel like I just need to like learn it a little bit more, you know? I need to like spend a little bit more time on it, and then I think it will be like really cool. So
right. You kind of have to like work on it and like get used to like the movements and like being on it. Yeah, it takes
you have
some
to
time.
kind of like change your whole, not your
like
whole
how
workflow,
you work,
but like how you do it is just, it's just different. So
yeah, totally.
Okay, so I'm just like playing around with like what
I love that though.
Be. Thank you. And then like, what if there's some like pretty fabric drapes?
Ooh, yes.
We always love a nice fabric. Let's see what color this should be. Maybe like a pretty blue.
Ooh, yes. That's fun.
Okay, and then when I do fabric, you know, I like to like just to kind of be like, this is fabric. I'll do like a darker color. You guys,
nice.
I'm all about the cheats, like truly all about
I mean, look, if it gets the point across, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
And ooh, like Voodoo Val says, I have been using Illustrator for iPad for a few months now. It takes some getting used to because I never approached Illustrator with a pen before, but it's actually really great once you find the groove. And I think that's key. It's like finding the groove, like,
yes,
you know?
Absolutely. Like it just takes some time. Okay. What's also really fun about making mockups is that actually, let me duplicate this one. So to duplicate something, I'm just holding down Option and dragging,
nice.
clicking and dragging. But it's fun because you can also play around with like, oh, let me like play with some fun ways that I can, I don't know, just like do something kind of different.
Yes.
So
I'm into this.
It's fun to play with that, honestly, before the shoot, because when you're on set, sometimes you're like, you have the pressure of the client watching you, and sometimes like that creativity just like doesn't happen the same.
No. It's the pressure. It's just
the pressure. So and then we'll say this one's like more towards the front. Let's see. And then of course, like I probably would normally do some like actual like pictures of alcohol bottles, but this is what I have right now.
Nice.
I kind of play around with this. And then I was like, it'd be kind of cool if there were ski glasses in this shot too, because like you maybe like literally just came back from skiing and you took off your ski glasses and you like, before you even change out of your ski clothes, you're having a drink because you're like, that was
that was
I
a
don't
lot.
ski, but I have a feeling that it's tiring and you're just like,
yes.
I just need a drink. So maybe like the ski glasses are kind of coming in here.
Yes. That feels vacation.
Right?
Yeah.
So you kind of build these images, and then I would start building this image, and I always try to like zoom out and like make sure like, okay, these images are two different sets, right? But do they feel like they belong together? And I feel like they do, because the colors, the style, the things that are being included are very similar. But, you know, maybe, for example, I'd be like, okay, actually, like, I want to change this wood to be like a little bit of a darker wood to kind of pull this
to kind of
in
match
more.
that. Maybe the like color of the sofa a little bit more on that blue side. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And like, you'll also do sets that are like totally different from each other, and you may not be able, like, maybe there's like a fully orange set, a fully blue set, or something like that. And so you're not going so much off of the colors as of you're gonna have to find other things that you're incorporating to make them feel cohesive. So that might be like the textures that you're using, the style that you're shooting in, the lighting style, making sure that the lighting is matching, making sure that the props feel like they all belong together and they're all kind of like telling the same story. So it's nice to have a plan like this where you can zoom out and be like, okay, are things fitting? Or maybe like there's like one image that just doesn't fit and you're going to scratch that and come up with something new.
You're able to see it all next to each other and can make those decisions to kind of like really narrow and hone down on your images. Yeah.
And then it also helps you to be like, okay, how can I reuse some of the sets instead of having like a different set for every single image? Maybe in this image, I'm going to use this wood background as the bottom of this set, and I'll have a different background, but then it's going to tie together. It's also like, you know, I have to buy this vinyl background and I can use it multiple ways instead of buying it and only using it for one image. But maybe like this one has like a pink background or something like that. I don't know.
Right. Totally. Well, you guys, we have a few minutes left, about 4 minutes. So if you have any questions, last minute questions, please.
It goes by so fast.
I know it always does. Please drop it in the chat and we'll be happy to answer. But it's been so fun watching you just kind of create this shoot plan. And honestly, what a great fun product. So yeah, this is so fun. I love it.
If you guys
You're so quick in Illustrator too. Like I could never.
I mean, you do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. That's right.
You got to learn how to be quick in it. And honestly, I'm probably like, there are people who are quicker than me. But you have to learn how to do it quickly, right?
It's the shortcuts too. Like, you know, like certain things. And Photoshop is so different from Illustrator. So to me, like Illustrator's like completely foreign. Like I still struggle to change the color of something. Like, you know, I'm always like, what? How do I do this?
I know. It's like hard to know how to do it all.
Ooh, but I like this.
I feel like a little champagne tower or like a little
cute.
I don't know. Now I'm just playing around.
Now you're just
and there is a shortcut for bringing things to the front and the back, but I always forget what they are, so I don't know those ones that I should put, because that's probably like my most commonly used things, and I just haven't bothered to learn them.
Ooh, that looks so fun though.
Yeah. Oops. Actually, let's do this.
Michelle says making these kinds of decks is so fun. And
I know, it really is. It really is.
Jess says, just want to say how fast all of this can come together. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, which is really awesome, right? If maybe you're working on like multiple shoots at the same time, or you have like, you're doing a shoot with like a lot of images, you do want to be able to do things fairly quickly and save yourself time, right? Because you're a freelancer, your time is money. So it is important to be able to like kind of knock things out when you need them to. And I would maybe even change this to like this fun like tile or something.
Ooh, actually, yeah, I agree. I'm into that.
I think that would fit
I think that'll make it more like more holiday too.
Yeah.
Oh, Michelle says you both have your own strengths.
Thank you. We
Cute.
do. We
Jess says,
do.
thank you both for doing this. That's really sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet. If you
I
guys
know.
make your own mock-ups or anything and you post them on social media or your shoot plan,
Please tag us.
please tag us because I love to see other people's mock-ups. I think it's so fun, especially
Oh
if
my
you show
gosh,
your
yes.
mock-up and your final image. If you go to
Next
our
to each other.
yeah, if you go to our Instagram, which is Weekend Creative, I think last week sometime I posted one where it's like the final image and you can swipe and see the mock-up.
Yes.
And I want to do more of those. So keep an eye out on our social media. It's just so fun to see like what the original was, what it ended up being. Colors Collective also posted one recently, I think.
Yes.
They're another creative agency that is awesome.
Our friends.
Our friends in New York, and they do really cool mock-ups too. So yeah, and not every photographer does mock-ups. I just feel like it has improved our process so
Oh,
much.
100%.
And
By so much. Yeah.
yeah. And I think we're gonna do this actual shoot as a personal project. So
Yes.
I
Oh my
don't know when
gosh.
that's gonna happen. October is crazy for us, but
And
maybe
November.
in November we'll do this. So stay
Uh,
tuned for that because I like we'll post it when it all comes together. I think it'd be really fun to kind of play around with. So
yes. Well, oh, we're at the end here.
oh my gosh, it's
Oh
so
my goodness.
crazy.
So here it is. Here are some of the like final little mock-ups and so fun and the whole shoot plan. It all came together so perfectly. So thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for joining us on the weekday edit with Weekend Creative. Make sure to stick around for another live stream, Transformation Monday with Sin Lagos, where she'll be editing live and transforming her images with film filters inspired by actual film photos. So anyway, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.